Coming up on the Daily O, the Big 12 women's basketball preseason polls were released today. Find out where the Cowgirls ranked. One OSU soccer player continues to be a key factor for her team's elite play this season. Also, while Thursday Night Football is among us, for those fantasy football players, stay tuned to find out which players you need to start or bench. All of this and more coming up. The Daily O starts right now. Happy Thursday and welcome back to the Daily O. I'm Emma Lightfoot. Thanks for stopping by as we inch closer towards the weekend. Cowgirl soccer hits the road to Norman, taking on the Sooners in what will be the first Bedlam matchup of any sport this season tonight. The two teams were set to begin the rivalry series back on August 28th in Stillwater, but the game was canceled due to weather. The Cowgirls come into tonight's game with a record of 9-1-2. Their last game was a tie versus Texas Tech a week ago, so they will look to get back into the win column tonight. The Sooners' previous game was also against the Red Raiders in a 2-1 loss last week. For the Cowgirls, Grace Yoakum and Olivia Dowell are always players to watch. They lead OSU with 7 goals each on the year. Speaking of players to keep an eye out for, one key freshman for the Cowgirls continues to go above and beyond on the field, helping the Cowgirls maintain their dominance. Our own Derek Mendez has the latest.
As Cowgirl soccer is heading to the latter part of the season, they have proven to be a strong and exciting team to watch. Their attack has been electric with a total of 25 goals, and their defense has been solid with 9 total shutouts. Freshman goalkeeper Jordan Nidis is one of the main reasons the Cowgirls have been such a strong force in the back. Coach Carmichael believes the two things that make Nidis an incredible keeper are her athleticism and commanding presence in the box.
And then on the field, two things. She's able to make saves that other keepers can't with her athletic ability, and then her ability to take high balls. Like I said, I knew she was pretty good at that, but when she got here and she started taking some of those crosses against 5'10", 5'11" forwards that are jumping in her face, she takes them like it's nothing. So those are probably the two things on the field that have really impressed me.
Whenever Coach Carmichael or his players have a chance to talk about Nidis, they praise her fearlessness and aggressive nature in the box, which is what she believes sets herself apart from other keepers in the conference.
I think it probably is that ability to just command the box and be able to go and take the balls out of there, because there are moments if I'm not able to catch the ball, my defenders might not be able to get there either, and it could be an opportunity for the other team to score. So I think that is definitely something that I'm pretty good at.
Nidis has played in and started all 12 games for the Cowgirls so far, facing 23 shots, saving 12, and only allowing 5 goals. With how well she has been able to adapt to college soccer, she credits her success to her teammates.
Honestly, I couldn't name one person. The entire team has been super welcoming and super awesome in the transition. I think someone I've connected to a lot is Liv. We've talked a lot, we've hung out a lot outside of the soccer field, and I think that she's definitely a role model for sure.
Nidis already has 2 Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Week honors and looks to continue to strive for the Cowgirls. Reporting from Neil Patterson Stadium, Derek Mendez, Ocali TV.
First whistle for Bedlam Soccer tonight is set for 7 p.m. Thanks, Derek. While Cowgirl soccer has been proving their dominance, Cowgirl basketball is preparing to do the same, despite recent polling numbers. The Big 12 released their preseason poll for the upcoming 2022-2023 season this afternoon, with OSU placing second to last, while Iowa State was placed first for the first time since 2001. While preseason polls don't hold much value, new head coach J.C. Hoyt and her staff will look to bring a new era of Cowgirl basketball to Gallagher-Iba Arena, as well as to prove those rankings wrong. We'll take a quick break, but when we return, it's time to dive into your national headlines. Also, our own Karsten Melton has which NFL players deserve to be in your fantasy football starting lineup. The Daily O will be right back.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey, who doesn't like a good road trip? So, we packed up our cameras, teamed up with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell and the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, and that's how this series was born. we want to show you why traveling within the great state of Oklahoma is a great idea. So come join us for thousands of miles over the next year, from Broken Bow to Black Mesa. This is the Oklahoma Road Trip.
I'm Kristen Hawkins. I went to Oklahoma State University here in Stillwater in 99 to 2004. I've always felt like Stillwater needed more family-friendly things to do, and we have opened up AR Workshop. We do everything from knitting blankets that can be done in a 3-hour class. We create doormats and porch signs, the Christmas wreaths with our yarn that we use for the blankets. We also do, we just started a new project for gnomes. We've done pumpkins during the fall, but our big thing that we do here are interior signs. Our designs are extremely unique to AR Workshop. Customers come in, everything is here for them to do. They create everything. They can be as hands-on as they want. They came in here to relax and have fun, and that they are proud of their project that they've made.
Over the years, we kind of realized that you can get ribs anywhere, you can get a steak anywhere, but you can't always get a Mountain View hot link like ours. So we really decided to focus on that niche and realized we had something really special. So that's when we started focusing more on the hot links, but it's still the same family recipe they were making all those years ago. For us, many of our people that work here have been with us for years and decades. So whereas machines kind of break down over time, the people just get better. And it shows in the products we produce. When you buy a Mountain View product, not only is it gonna taste dynamite, but you're also feeding Oklahomans. You're helping employ Oklahomans, and you're helping to fund the state's economy. So what's better than that?
Welcome back to the Daily O. Let's take a quick look into your national headlines from across the sports world today. Starting in the NCAA, college football players are scoring a sweet new NIL deal, simply based on their last name. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups has chosen 12 players from across the nation to be ambassadors of the candy. The common denominator? They all have the last name Reese. Members of the Reese team will receive gifts like a gold Reese's chain and pendant, and a mini fridge custom made to fit in a locker and keep their peanut butter cups cold. The team includes Richard Reese, a running back from Baylor, and Brody Reese, a defensive tackle at the University of Tulsa. Moving over to the basketball world, projected #1 overall NBA draft pick Victor Wembanyama played last night and more than lived up to expectations. The 7'4" Frenchman dominated when his team from Paris took on the G League Ignite. Wembanyama scored a game-high 37 points, making 7 three-pointers. He also grabbed 4 rebounds and blocked 5 shots. The French native has wowed NBA scouts with his 8-foot wingspan and guard skills, and the hype is only growing after last night's game. Another impressive player from the game is the Ignite's Scoot Henderson. The 6'2" guard led the Ignite to victory with 28 points. He's considered the second best prospect in his class behind Wembanyama. These are 2 players for basketball fans to keep an eye on, as they will be seeing them in the NBA before too long. Our next story isn't on a court or on a field. It's on a board. The chess world was put on notice last month when Grandmaster Hans Moke Niemann defeated world champion Magnus Carlsen. Weeks later, the two met again, and Carlsen quit the game after a single move. The chess world erupted in conspiracies, and then Carlsen admitted that he had suspicions about Niemann possibly cheating. After the accusation, Niemann, who is only 19 years old, defended himself adamantly. Chess.com is the favorite online chess platform, even for the world's top players. The site launched an investigation into Niemann's alleged cheating and shared its findings earlier this week. After Carlsen's accusation and protest, Niemann admitted he had cheated on 2 occasions, but said he never did it in important games, and only once in a game for prize money. In-person over-the-board cheating remains incredibly difficult to prove. But regardless, chess fans can be sure that Niemann will be under intense scrutiny the next time he returns to play. If you're a fantasy football player struggling to decide who to play this week, you came to the right place. Our own Karsten Melton will tell you who to start and who to sit, as well as some key waiver wire players to pick up to lead your team to glory.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Football Weekly Roundup. My name is Karsten Melton and we have a packed episode here today, so let's get started with our stardoms. We'll start with Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Weeks 1 through 3 were fantastic for Trevor. Under new head coach Doug Peterson, Lawrence has finally been unlocked for the Jags. Last week was not a very good performance, but we could excuse that because it was against a very good Eagles team. Now he takes on a divisional foe in the Texans, who have been woeful this season. With 8 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions, Trevor has become a QB you can trust in year 2. Next up is a bit of a different choice. We're calling New England Patriots running back Remandre Stevenson as a stardom. The Detroit Lions have the second worst run defense in the NFL this season. The Pats will probably rely on their run game with rookie Bailey Zappi under center for the injured Mac Jones and Brian Hoyer. Stevenson does split time with Damian Harris, who we will also say is a smart start. If you have either of the Patriots' backfield, they are a good start against a lackluster Lions run defense. And finally is another somewhat different selection. It's Washington Commanders wide receiver Curtis Samuel. If Jahan Dotson is indeed out for this week, Samuel's targets behind scary Terry McLaurin will go up against a Tennessee defense that allows the 4th most yards to receivers this season. Samuel has been consistently solid this season, scoring double-digit fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. He warrants a start this week against a team that he's sure to put up solid numbers against. Now let's get a look at our bench for this week, and let's start with Pittsburgh Steelers running back Najee Harris. Steelers gave Najee the ball a season-high 18 times last week, and he performed admirably for 74 yards. Next week is a terrifying matchup. It's the Bills. Buffalo will more than likely stack the box with the rookie Kenny Pickett in at quarterback, which means Najee will not be able to get anything going. He's one of the best backs in the league for sure, but this week is not a good matchup for anybody on the Steelers. Next is Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. In back-to-back weeks, he hasn't thrown a touchdown. He's thrown more picks than tutties this season. The Super Bowl hangover is real for this team, and Stafford is proof of that. Dallas doesn't have a terrific defense, but considering Matt's poor form and how well the Cowboys performed against Joe Burrow, this is an easy bench call for us to make. Now we're going to do something a little bit different this week and actually take away one of our bench slots and give you 4 waiver wire targets this week. And the first one is Miami Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert. The former Niner received a team-high 17 touches last week against Cincy. It seems that he's starting to take over from Chase Edmonds as the Dolphins' lead back. He's a good idea to grab, especially this week against a very meh Jets defense. Should be his first week this season to score a touchdown as well, even with Teddy Bridgewater at QB. Next, we'll put Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett. The Pitt kid has finally been put in at QB over Trubisky, and Steelers fans rejoice. You might as well see if you could stash him on your bench, but try not to play him yet, however, unless you absolutely have to. 2 rushing touchdowns against the Jets was good. 3 interceptions, however, was not so good. Now he plays Buffalo, then Tampa, then Miami, then Philadelphia. Dear God, stash him away, but unless he shows his Heisman finalist form, he needs to stay on that bench. Thirdly, how about we put New York Jets wide receiver Corey Davis? He's been really good this year. 3 out of 4 games, he's totaled over 70 receiving yards, along with 2 touchdowns this season. Between 13 and 18 fantasy points in those 3 games as well for the Western Michigan product. With the return of Zach Wilson for the Jets, Davis's numbers should go up. There's a possibility that he could have a pretty good game against Miami as well this week, with the possibility of Xavier Howard out for the Dolphins. Davis is a really underrated option to pick up at receiver. And lastly, we'll put in Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson. Robinson has returned to the field for practice for the first time since a scary incident back in August, where he was the victim of an attempted robbery and sustained gunshot wounds to his right leg, requiring surgery. Now, barely over a month removed from the surgery, Robinson is targeting a Week 5 return to action, which is an incredible feat. We wanted to shout him out for an unbelievable recovery. It'll most likely be running back by committee for Washington, but nevertheless, Robinson could be a useful option on your bench. And that's a wrap for this week's edition of the Fantasy Football Weekly Roundup. Be sure to tune in next week for more fantasy advice from us and enjoy yet another week of football. For the Daily O, I'm Karsten Melton.
Thanks, Karsten. We'll take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll preview Thursday Night Football as well as show you the bracket for the MLB playoffs. This is the Daily O.
Ace in the Bowl salsa started many, many years ago. I was trying to find a recipe to take to a family gathering, and so I started messing around with different recipes, and I took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I came up with a salsa that is truly unique. Ace in the Bowl salsa is an olive oil-based salsa with tomatoes, green chilies, green onions, and black olives. There's no sugar added, it's gluten-free, low calorie, low carb, low fat, low sodium. So it's a very, very, very good alternative to any snack you may want. As of right now, I'm just looking to be in Oklahoma and having a successful business within the state. If my grandkids could ever take it over when they're old enough, that would be my dream.
We use the very best of the best ingredients. Demerara sugar is the best that is. Very high quality fruits, berries. The milk we use is the best milk there is. That's what makes our product stand by itself. I like to make yogurt because I like to eat yogurt. We've been doing this for ourselves for many years because it's a tradition in our family. And we want to have a product which would be very similar to French yogurt, but with our touch of uniqueness, linking our name, our product, with the reputation of the Made in Oklahoma Coalition was probably the best thing we have done as far as promoting our product.
Welcome back to the show. Week 5 of the NFL kicks off tonight as the Denver Broncos take on the Indianapolis Colts in Denver. The Broncos have a record of 2-2, and the Colts are 1-2-1. Both teams are looking to bounce back from disappointing losses in Week 4. The Broncos are yet to hit their stride after acquiring star quarterback Russell Wilson during the offseason. They will be without running back Javonte Williams for the season with a torn ACL. The Colts have their own troubles in the running back department, with running back Jonathan Taylor ruled out of tonight's game with an ankle injury. Regardless of the injuries, this game will be an important one for both teams. If you want to watch and see who can step up and walk away with a win, you can tune in at 7:15 when coverage will begin exclusively on Amazon Prime Video. In more NFL news, the league cheers for Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson. Robinson is yet to play this season after being shot twice in an attempted robbery in August. This week, he returned to practice. The rookie described the shooting as the lowest point of his life, and though his injuries weren't life-threatening, he wondered if he would ever play football again. He said returning to the practice field was a beautiful day for him. Robinson has been doing drills and even running with the scout team. Head coach Ron Rivera says it all looks promising for the young player, and the Commanders will have 21 days to add him to their active roster. They haven't ruled out the possibility of him playing Week 5, but they are not going to rush it. Regardless of when Robinson returns, it will be a success story for him, the Commanders, and the league. Robinson's teammates will be especially happy to have him back. The MLB playoffs will start tomorrow. The 12-team bracket is the largest ever for a full season and will begin with the best-of-3 wildcard series. You can tune into ESPN for the first postseason game. Friday with the Tampa Bay Rays as they take on the Guardians at 12:07 p.m. in Cleveland. The winner of this series will play the Yankees in the ALDS next on Friday, and you can tune into ABC at 2:07 p.m. as well, as Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies take on Albert Pujols and the Cardinals in St. Louis. Whoever wins this series will play the current reigning world champions and the Atlanta Braves in the NLDS, and then the Seattle Mariners make their first playoff appearance since 2001 against the Blue Jays in Toronto, which will also be on ESPN at 4:07 p.m. That series winner will play the Astros in the ADLS. The final series to open the playoffs is on ESPN at 8:07 as Juan Soto and the San Diego Padres take on the New York Mets. That series will determine who will play the Dodgers in the NLDS. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, find out what happened on this day in sports history. Also, we'll send happy birthday wishes to a few sports stars. More when the Daily O returns.
We would design something, it was set on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, this isn't it, it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into our everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
Pecans are staple to Oklahoma. In fact, many of our native pecans come from trees that are older than Oklahoma statehood.
My father's the one that got us started into the pecan picking. I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and we started off with one little mechanical picker that you pulled behind a four-wheeler. Then we'd go home at night and we'd clean them on a TV tray. I guess watching my dad work hard when we were young, and people started trusting him and getting more and more groves, we just kept growing.
Being a relatively new and fresh company, we get to sit in the same room with people who have been a part of the Oklahoma economy for decades.
It's opened a lot of doors. It's gave us quite a bit of exposure, and I think people, will take a small company like us a little more serious. We're just going to continue growing as long as our community lets us and our customers keep on buying, and we'll see where it takes us.
Well, how I got started was my daughter said, "Mama, why don't we rent a booth at the Quarter Horse Show?" And it was very, very good because, when you're giving your jelly away for free, people really do love it. But when you ask them to pay for it, then that's a true test. What makes my product so unique is the Scotch bonnet pepper. And the Scotch bonnet is a Jamaican pepper. And I had lived in Montego Bay, Jamaica for 4 years. So I learned how to handle the pepper and how to cook with it. I always say, you don't do this on your own. I mean, you have so many people that help you along the way. For me and for many of us, that's my name on that jar, and it better be good.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks for sticking around. It's time to turn the clocks back and look into sports history for today. It was the end of a few legendary eras throughout the professional sporting world. In 1911, Boston Rustlers pitcher Cy Young pitched his 906th appearance against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Throughout his 21 seasons in the MLB, Young continues to hold the all-time records in career wins, innings pitched, and complete games pitched. Speaking of the end of an era, in 1993, Chicago Bulls star and arguably one of the greatest players to ever step on the hardwood, Michael Jordan announced his retirement from the NBA. Jordan played for 9 seasons while winning 3 NBA championships in the Windy City, but this retirement only lasted for 2 years. In 1995, Jordan then announced his return to basketball and led the Bulls to 3 more championships before his final retirement in 2002. Now it's time to give a happy birthday shout out to some big-time athletes. Happy 67th birthday to former NFL coach and now analyst Tony Dungy. Dungy was a former safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers for 3 seasons before putting on the headset. Dungy converted to the coaching ranks for the next 13 seasons for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Indianapolis Colts and had quite the level of success. Out of those 13 seasons, Dungy only missed the playoffs twice. Dungy was announced to the NFL Hall of Fame in 2020. Also, another happy 43rd birthday to former defensive lineman Richard Seymour. The former 7-time Pro Bowler and 3-time Super Bowl champion was quite the force to be reckoned with on the gridiron. Throughout his 11 seasons in the league, Seymour finished with nearly 500 career combined tackles and 57.5 sacks. Seymour retired from the league in 2012, but is still playing professionally in a different sport, poker. Let's take one last look at our national headlines before we end today's show. College football players with the last name Reese are being chosen for NIL deals to become ambassadors for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. The 12 members of the Reese's team will receive a variety of gifts, But most importantly, their lockers will be stocked with Reese's footballs to make sure that they are taking their favorites among their teams. That is, if they share. 7'4", 18-year-old French phenom Victor Wen Benyama did not disappoint in his first game in the United States. The projected 2023 number 1 pick went for 37 points and 5 blocks versus the G League Ignite, continuing to blow scouts away with his unprecedented combination of size, guard skills, and scoring ability. The Ignite's Scoot Henderson, projected number 2 pick, wasn't half bad either. He scored 28 points in a win over the French team and showed no sign of fear when taking on the 7-footer. And the chess world has been rocked by a cheating scandal, with young player Hans Moke Niemann and world champion Magnus Carlsen at the center. Niemann has made an unprecedented rise to the top of the game, and even defeated Carlsen in a match last month. But the authenticity of his wins has been called into question. An investigation conducted by Chess.com found that he likely cheated in over 100 online matches. This led him to be banned from the Global Championship. Niemann's future in other competitions is uncertain, but the scandal will undoubtedly be a black mark on his legacy and reputation going forward. That will wrap up things for today's edition of the Daily O. Tune back in tomorrow when Connor Bergen and Brody Myers will have you covered on all things news and sports in Stillwater. For the Daily O, I'm Emma Lightfoot. Good night, everyone.
My name is James Remandre. Fired Up Stilly is the name of the business, and I'm one of the owners. We all three met, the three owners, working as employees at a similar place like this. What I hope for is for everybody to feel welcome, like family. Not only do I want students to feel welcome to come here and study and use our free Wi-Fi, but also I want adults and families to be able to come in. We've built a connection with a lot of people, and Stillwater's a big community, so we just want to invite everybody to be able to eventually make their way through our doors. Well, definitely the teas, I would say. Most people fall in love with them. They just got a great amount of energy, gets you going through your day, and it just kickstarts you to get everything you need to done. For myself, it would just have to be, being the owner, owning something that, is able to impact other people's lives, and, the way we can affect our community is something that I really have always wanted to do. We love our clients and our customers that come through every day, and we enjoy getting to know them.
My name's Kayla. I've been here since the beginning, so 4 years. Scratch is more focused on farm and mostly made in Oklahoma products, keeping it local. Sustainability is our biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why this place opened.
I've been the chef here at Scratch for 2.5 years. Started here as a line cook. Our food and drinks are a bit separate entities almost inside the restaurant. So the food is now up to 85% of the products we bring in are raised or grown locally. It's all based off of things that I grew up eating in southern Oklahoma, the things my grandparents ate.
Fresh food, clean food, organic food, sustainability, that's all of our thing. From front of house to back of house, we're able to maintain both with freshness. But made in Oklahoma means we get it straight from the farms that are 20, 30 minutes, another little county away. We get it straight from them.
Hi, I'm Amanda Akins. I'm the owner of Hurricane Dixie Leather. I started this company back in about 2015, and I think that one of the most unique things about our store is that we're not just your everyday mom and pop leather shop. We use a lot of color and unique techniques that set us apart from others. We are a full Wrangler retailer. We have lots of Wrangler jeans and shirts. We've also got some other fun boutique clothes, and everything, all the leather goods in the store are made here in the shop. We also accept custom orders.